Alrighty guys, Decoration Dude here, and today we just got a review on this Spirit Halloween Bone Collector. Now, this was included in that big lot I got off a guy local to me. Since this is the first review I'm doing out of that lot, I guess I'll go ahead and explain the story. So pretty much, there was a Jimmy life-size Edwardian butler for sale in my area, and I messaged the guy and said, is it still available? And he said no. So I said, well, let me know if people don't pick it up or whatever. He said I will. It was only 60 bucks. And so I waited for a few days and he messaged me back. He said, hey, they never came, so it's yours. And I met up with him and I got that. And I asked if he had any more Halloween stuff. He said yes. And he had a caged beast that he was going to sell. He said, be looking in the next few days, I'll have it up and you can buy it. Well, it was about a week or 2 weeks later, I saw it and I messaged him, and apparently he had over 20 people message him about the caged beast, because that's a lot more it's desired a lot more than the Edwardian butler, but he ended up choosing me out of all the people because he knew me from the Edwardian butler. So I went and got that, paid $75 for caged beast, and I said, do you have any more Halloween stuff? He's like, oh, by the way, when I picked up the caged beast, I also got an that inflatable purple spider I made a video on. So I asked him if he had any more. He's like, yes, I do. I have a whole bunch more, but my basement flooded, so once I get the carpet fixed and I can pull some things out, I'll let you come over and look at it. So eventually, he texts me and sends me a picture of just a few things. So I go over there to look at it, and he tells me he has more, but he can't get to it yet in the storage, and I told him I would help him take some stuff out. So we start pulling stuff out, and he keeps just pulling and pulling and pulling stuff out, and he had so much stuff back there, and I ended up purchasing most of the big stuff off him in that lot video on my channel. That's everything I got so far, and I paid $300 for everything. Now, just about everything that I got has its own issues. I've been slowly working on trying to get everything working again. So far, I've only had one item that's fried, so hopefully I'll be able to find a way to get that working again. But if not, it'll still be a cool static. But anyways, we were pulling stuff out, and I took my truck over there and I got 2 truckloads. And he still has more stuff. It's more of little stuff, and there's a couple Spirit store displays that he has. He has the merry-go-round that the zombie babies were on, so I might end up getting that from him, and a whole bunch of other stuff that he has still. He just has to go through it, he said. But anyways, let's get into the review on the Bone Collector. That was just the story of how I came across that huge lot, but this was one of the items that I got from that lot. As you can see, here's his box. He did come with the box. The box is in like perfect shape almost. I mean, it's in really good shape for how old this prop is. Now, this one is one of the ones that had an issue. This is one of the like 3 props I tested at his house. And the neck rises, but the head did not turn side to side, or the eyes did not light up. So I was assuming that it was a wire that was not making contact with the connector, or it was just a wire that was ripped in general. So I ended up having to make a little hole here. It was actually a little bigger than I wanted it to be, but I had to make a hole and pull the wires out. And I had to break the seal where the bottom of the latex comes to the base and the pants. So I had to take all this and rip it apart. And I had to take the wire that comes to his head and resolder it down here. And it was actually, it actually ripped in like the middle, but there was no way for me to get to that. So I had to take it out, solder the 2 halves back together, fish it through, and then solder it back down to the base. So unfortunately there is a little bit of a rip right here, but I have it taped up, so hopefully it won't grow. But he does work perfect now. So, one other thing I wanted to mention is his cord back here is just a lot longer than it needs to be, which I'm not complaining. It is kind of a hassle to wrap up and get back in the box, but it's just way longer than it needs to be, and that's just how older YJ props are, and I think this is YJ. And actually, this box still has the original sticker on it. This was sold for $149. It's a little pricey for something like this, I guess, especially back in the day. I'd probably be willing to pay about $100 for this brand new. But with that being said, let's go ahead and activate them. Alright, he's plugged in. He might take a minute to warm up.
Be warned. Once you enter my house, you'll never get to leave!
Alright, we'll activate him one more time.
Soon, this nightmare will end. Until then, your soul is mine!
Alrighty, so there he is. Go ahead and unplug him so he doesn't go off again. One thing I thought that was pretty interesting about this guy is that his head turning motor and mech is actually in the head, it's not in the neck, so the neck doesn't turn at all, it's the actual head itself that turns. So I thought that was a little interesting, and I'm really hoping that head turning never breaks or it gets a split gear, because that's going to be a kind of a pain to fix, because I'm going to have to split open the head and I really don't want to do that. But this guy, pretty basic prop, he doesn't do too much, but he's still very cool. Definitely one of those classic Halloween, Spirit Halloween props that everyone's like, oh yeah, Bone Collector, or they remember seeing him in stores. He was just one of those props that everyone loves. And I'm really happy to have him in my collection. I had a chance to get one last year, but I passed on it. So, well, I'm happy to have him now. Don't have much more to say about him. He is a very cool prop, and if you can find him, I recommend him. He is definitely a little harder to find, but if you can find him, I definitely recommend him. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. Thanks for watching.